Welcome to the Holistic Success Show. I'm Elizabeth Lozano.
And I'm Dr. Robert Puff. Today we're going to have an expert on how to be successful at work.
Dr. Puff is going to be talking to us about how one of life's goals is to handle things well as why it's important to examine your addictions.
And a question from you about when is it appropriate to tease our loved ones?
And another question is about pushing our children too much in sports. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show.
As we go through life's journey here on earth, I think often what we do is we say, problems come, let's solve them. Another problem comes, let's solve that problem. Another problem comes, now let's solve that problem. And we go through life solving problems, fixing things. And then we think, I just want to get back to things going well. So for example, you may be out of work right now. And you say, well, once I get a job, things will be well again. You may be struggling with cancer right now. And you say, well, once I go through my chemotherapy, my radiation, and I get my health back, all will be well again. And most of us tend to do that. We have a problem that occurs in life, and we work on fixing it. But for a moment, I want to present something to you as a different option, perhaps a deeper option to choose to go through life when these things occur. And that would be when problems hit, instead of fixing the problem, focus on handling the problem well. So that when things happen, it isn't the fact that, yes, you will work on fixing it, but you're more going to focus on how is my heart handling this difficult time right now. And if you work towards saying, hey, my heart's handling this pretty well, even though I'm out of work right now, I'm still okay. I'm learning to love every moment. I'm being present. I'm still kind towards my wife and my family and my children. Or if you're struggling with an illness, you're saying, yeah, I'm sick right now, but I'm still hearing the birds sing. I'm still going for my walks. I'm still meditating. You're doing things so that during the crisis, life is still well. The twist there is you now are focused on working on you to handle things well instead of having life go well. And the beautiful thing about this is, if you kind of get it, what you'll find is now all of a sudden, when tragedy, when crisis is hit, you don't have to go into this panic mode. You can say, I have really good skills in place to handle things well. So if something comes along, instead of it scaring you, saying, yes, I will work towards remedying this. I will work towards getting this better. But I'm also going to work towards quieting my heart, being present, and learning just to handle things well. And the beauty behind that is there's freedom. Because then when crises come, as they will, they'll keep coming throughout life. That's part of life. Life has events that occur to us. We get older, we get sick, people that we love die. Lots of things happen throughout our lives. And instead, if your heart is focused on, I want to, when crises hit, handle them well, you may find that life will go much better. Peace.
Our first question this week is from Amy in Springdale, Arkansas. My boyfriend teases me about my weight and I'm tired of it. What should I say to him to make him stop?
Amy, to me, there's two parts to your question. One is, what should I do about someone teasing me, my boyfriend teasing me? It is wrong for people to tease other people when it causes them suffering. And usually when you're teasing someone about the way they look, particularly about their weight, it's just going to hurt. And I really encourage people never to do that. It's painful, it's harmful, and I just am really against it. So when your boyfriend or anyone crosses a line, it's a boundary issue. What do you do? How do you set boundaries with another person? It's like drawing a line in the sand and you tell that person, don't cross this. So if they cross it, if he continues, there needs to be a consequence. The consequence may be, I'm going to stop hanging out with you. I'm going to leave. And if it continues, you may have to up it. If he keeps crossing, say, I'm going to not hang out with you anymore. I'm going to stop dating you. I'm going to stop being your girlfriend. And until he gets it, until he realizes you really mean it, he probably will keep crossing it. So you have to really mean it. You don't have to take it to the extreme initially, but keep upping it till at some point he says, all right, if I don't stop this, if I don't get this, she will leave me. And I think making that clear, because what he's doing is painful, and I'm sure he's not meaning it that way, but it is that way. And given that that's the way you're experiencing it, you have to be real clear about don't cross my line. Or, what are your thoughts?
I did hear you say that you're sure he's not meaning it that way, but the truth is what he's saying is abusive because it's hurting you, right? And sometimes there are people, Dr. Puff, as we've talked about in the past, that they struggle with their own stuff and they have a tendency to put other people down. And it's not necessarily that he's trying to hurt you deliberately. He may be upset or whatever's going on. He's struggling with himself and putting you down, but it's a problem. And there are people sometimes that go around hurting people, unfortunately. Ultimately, it's because they're hurting themselves. But the important thing is, I'm glad that you're asking this question. I'm glad that you're tired of it. You need to love yourself enough to say it is unacceptable for somebody to treat me this way. I don't care if I'm 700 pounds. It's not okay for somebody to do that to me. Is it healthy to be 700 pounds? No. But let me tell you, it's not healthy for somebody to joke at, to make stabs at you, to do things like that. Because ultimately, how does that make you feel? It may actually make you eat more. And it's just not a good thing. And it's really important, when we start drawing that line in the sand that Dr. Puff was talking about, it may start with you saying, it's not okay for you to talk to me that way, or it's unacceptable for you to talk to me that way, or you get up and you leave the room if you're not ready to say something like that. But I encourage you, get support. And if you find it too hard to say what you need to say, go to therapy, talk to somebody who can help you build up enough confidence in yourself to say to somebody, it is unacceptable for you to treat me this way. And if you love me, you will not talk to me that way.
I believe that you have to really be careful with teasing because, yes, it's fun to have an enjoyable time with your partner or your friends, but when you start teasing, it can be easily taken the wrong way. And I just think you have to be careful. And like you said, sometimes they actually mean it in a mean way. And so I think you just really, really, really need to be careful with the teasing thing.
And a lot of times, I know within some cultures that's part of it, but a lot of times teasing is really a passive-aggressive thing to do. So you've got anger, you've got whatever, and you're like, oh, I was just kidding, but it hurts. And you don't really know what that person might be struggling with on the inside. Somebody can make a joke. For those of you who may tease about stuff like that, you may joke about the way somebody eats. You have no idea if they struggle with an eating disorder or body image. So really be careful about teasing, and if you're the person who's being teased, set a line. It's unacceptable for somebody to do that to you. Thank you so much for your question, and we wish you all the best.
Not feeling the way you want to feel, isolated, worried, frustrated, or is your child struggling? There are lots of labels. Our body is a system. It can affect our feelings. Sometimes you need a little help to understand what is happening, to make a plan for improvement, to take control of your body and mind. Insightful Minds, Psychiatry for Children, Adults, and Families. Call us for an appointment or go to insightfulminds.org.
There are hundreds of interventions that claim to help children with autism around the world, but only one is proven to be effective. Pacific Child provides state-of-the-art and evidence-based techniques known as applied behavior analysis. Pacific Child is a leading ABA agency providing services to children and adults with autism. Our high-quality team approaches their work with dedication, caring, and respect. Pacific Child, making a world of difference.
I'd like to welcome Mary Lynn Miller to the show. She's a life coach and has developed a program called Fired Up for Success. She's also the author of The 8 Myths of Making a Living and The Truth of Making a Life. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
Wonderful. So why don't you share with us a little bit about the program that you developed, Fired Up for Success. Why don't we start with that and then we'll go on to your book.
Sure. My program is called Fired Up for Success, and it's just what it says. It's about finding that inner fire. A lot of us don't know what that is. And not only finding it, but then actually doing something about it. And so we run a support program so that, you know, how you go to those workshops sometimes, and then you go home and nothing happens.
You get all fired up at first, and then you don't know what to do afterwards.
Exactly what the Fired Up is all about. It's finding the fire and then keeping it fired up through a support system.
So what are some of the techniques or whatnot that you use to keep somebody fired up?
We work with very small steps. In our particular program, we work with 2-week commitments. And all of our classes, all of our teams are done on the phone. So we have people from all over the world who check in and make these very tiny commitments. And that's very much what I believe in, is that your life changes on very small things, not on big things. We think transformation's a big deal, but really it's about the very small decisions that you make every day.
Now, talk to us about your book, The 8 Myths of Making a Living and the Truth of Making a Life. Talk to us about kind of what this is and the story behind you creating it.
Well, first of all, what it is literally the 8 myths. We're talking about getting fired up, finding your passion, living with joy, and there's reasons that we don't do that. When I work with clients, when I do an introductory coaching session, I find that they kind of know a lot of times what they're all about, but they're not. I say, so is that what you're doing with your life? Oh, no, I'm not doing any of that.
What are a few of those myths that you see? Can you share them with us?
A lot. Some of it's about money. It's a big shock. You know, I have to make a lot of money first before I can get into this passion thing, which is exactly the opposite. You have to have the passion first. Yes. But I have to be working really hard. So a lot of us are working way too hard, and when we're not getting the results, what do? We work harder.
Or we give up because we're so exhausted.
That's right. So there's a lot of exhaustion going on. So, and that was very much my story early on. Over 20 years ago, I was an executive for a Fortune 500 company, and I worked, and I pleased, and I made everybody happy, and I did all this stuff, and I ended up absolutely exhausted. And what happened was that I was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 6 months to live, and this was 22 years ago.
Wow.
So obviously that was wrong. But I remember at that time coming down from the doctor's office and sitting in the car and thinking, wow, have I fulfilled my purpose? And then I was thinking about my job, and I thought, no, that can't be right. That can't be it. But I also realized I didn't know. I was very disconnected. I was somebody who worked with a planner. I was somebody who got things done. I was very disconnected from any sense of passion or joy. I just did it.
So how did you get in touch with that?
Well, I realized sitting in that car that I needed to do so. If I had 6 months left, then I wanted to do something really different. And what I did is I made a decision to only do things that had energy. See, I was very exhausted, so I didn't have any energy. And so I started to realize that I kept making choices in my life, and we all do, that are very energy draining. And then we wonder why we're exhausted all the time.
And sick?
Yes, because we're doing things that start with words like, I have to, I ought to,
I should.
I should.
I always say stop shooting all over yourself.
That's right. And it's all my planner.
Yeah.
And what I realized that the vocabulary had to change to I want to, I desire to, I choose to. And when I started to choose things that had energy, guess what happened? You know, and it started to help me define who I was, and I started to realize that the things that gave me energy were not necessarily the things that gave you energy. And so I started to get much clearer about who I was. And the book is all about a little bit about how do you do that and some of the exercises to do that.
How much do you think that affected your recovery from cancer? Because to be told you have 6 months to live and totally shift your life, I mean, how much do you think that had to do with it?
I personally think it had a great deal to do with it, because I believe that when I believe that the cancer, for me personally, was caused by a lot of exhaustion. So my immune system was down, but I'm not a doctor. So I want to tell you, I'm a life coach. I really help people to find their passion, to find their purpose, and to actualize it in their lives. But my personal belief is that if you have a lot of energy going on, then and a lot of passion in your life, your level of health is also going to be correspondingly at a high level.
And when you say energy, you're referring primarily to positive energy, right? Because there's negative energy too.
Oh no. Very definitely. Positive energy, joy. You're excited. You know how we get these ideas about, ooh, it would be fun to do that. And then the idea that comes up after that is, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I'm not tall enough. I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. It won't work. And so we don't do it, as opposed to, I'm getting some guidance here that I need to move in this direction and let it unfold, because one of the things I've found out about passion, it's very nonlinear. Meaning a lot of times we're really clearly given the direction to move in a certain way, but we don't do it because we can't figure it out.
And I think being given 6 months to live really makes it so there's no choice in that. You know, you're like, okay, I've got this time that I can either continue what I'm doing and not be happy, or I can find my passion and I think it's important for you, this message that you're giving is like, you were there, and it's like, if I can teach the world how important it is to find your passion and live, because you never know if today's your last day, right? Whether it's cancer, whether it's an accident, whatever it is, you never know if it's your last day. And what if your last day was spent constantly doing I should?
Oh, yes,
right?
Absolutely. And you know, I really view the cancer as the greatest gift I've ever been given.
I've actually heard that before.
And because one of the things it did, and I know that both you and Dr. Puff talk about this, is it got me present. For the first time in my life, I wasn't planning, I wasn't doing, I was present. And that meant that I got up and I just lived for the moment. And in living for the moment, I also got a lot of inspiration and ideas that I now was in touch with that previously I hadn't been in touch with because I was too busy doing things. And I've talked to people and I've said, if you do these things that you're in alignment with, if you live these things that you're here, I believe we have a DNA for passion. Mm-hmm. If you do these things, your life will change really dramatically, and you'll be healthier, you'll be happier, you'll be making more money, you'll be in a sense of flow. And then they'll turn around and go, oh, that's really good. I don't have time for that.
Well, if people would like to get a hold of you, a hold of this book, or find out about your program, where can they find you?
I'm at firedupforsuccess.com. And also, we have a free social network, so you can find out what it's like to mastermind a little. And that's at firedupmastermind.com.
Oh, great title. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much.
Clonia cava. This superfood from the ocean's antioxidant force is much greater than anything grown on land's humic nutrients. Considered the essence of life, it's what helps plants grow naturally, has been shown to have incredible potential immune-enhancing properties. Aloe vera has been used for health and medicinal purposes. With 75 nutritional components, this unique lily plant is one of the most efficient delivery systems of nutrients into the bloodstream.
Are you or someone you love struggling with depression, anger, or anxiety? Have you suffered a loss, or are you struggling to keep your relationship alive? Do you have a child or teen who needs help? You don't have to face it alone. We are here to help you create the change you need in your life to be happy again. Visit us at www.ocmentalhealthexperts.com for more information.
Stem cells play a vital role in our body's ability to heal, but become less effective as we get older. StemKine is a daily supplement that has been clinically proven to increase stem cell circulation. Research has shown that circulating stem cells boost our ability to prevent or recover from injury, disease, or chronic conditions. Your stem cells can help you repair, restore, and regenerate. StemKine is an all-natural supplement proven to enhance your stem cells' activity and thereby improve your health.
Addictions. What are they? Most of us, when we think about addictions, think about the drug addict, the alcoholic, someone who's really down and out and struggling with life and barely getting by. But addictions are it's very simple what addictions are. Addictions are anything that keep you from feeling your feelings. They're emotional painkillers. So yes, of course, drugs and severe alcohol can be an addiction, but there are a plethora of other addictions. It can be television, it can be relationships, it can be food, it can be communicating with other people through the phone, through texting, through the internet. It can be television, like I said, movies. It could be so many different things that we don't think are addictions. But what it is, you're feeling pain, or I'm feeling pain. And instead of feeling that, what we do is we get busy. We distract ourselves from it. So another word for addictions is a distraction. It keeps us from feeling what we're feeling. And I think often when we think of addicts, we think, well, I'm not an addict. I don't struggle with things. But we all can when there's pain if we don't feel it. So what I want you to do is consider when you are in your heart in pain, saying, okay, am I doing this activity right now because I don't want to feel the pain? Because another option you have is feel the pain. Perhaps it's expressed through anger, or perhaps it'll be expressed through sadness. But feel that emotion, let it out. Like you have a cut, you let it out, and it will get better, it will go away. Then you don't need that distraction anymore. Because we do have things that happen to us that cause us suffering. But instead, if you feel the suffering, work it through, and be whole and healthy again, then you don't need the addiction. And a lot of times, the best way to approach it is saying, wow, I'm doing this thing a lot right now. And I normally don't. I feel like eating a whole carton of ice cream. I'm feeling like staying up late and watching a lot of sitcoms over and over again. I'm just hanging out with friends and don't want to be alone. So if any of those things, and again, there are so many ways addictions manifest, if any of those things right now are something that you can tell, yeah, I am doing that a lot, why? Ask yourself why. Is there something wrong? Is there something in your head that's wrong? Something in your heart that needs healing? Because if you heal, what will happen is the compulsion, the desire to do that addiction will dissipate. And that's part of the healing process with addictions. You have to feel it. But after you feel it, the pain goes away. So then the need, the compulsion to turn to that addiction goes away, and you can just be, and you can just live. So don't judge yourself, don't judge others, but instead look within and say, do I need healing? Peace.
Our second question this week is by Terry in Whittier, California. My 5-year-old son loves playing soccer. However, his coach really pushes the team hard to excel. My son no longer wants to be part of the team. I'm not sure what to do.
Terry, you may not agree with me, not everyone will that's listening, but when it's carrot versus stick, punishment versus positive reward, I'm always going to go with the positive. Of course, you need discipline in a sport. You need, have the rules, but mostly it should be fun. You should focus on everyone enjoying themselves, and if they do well, a lot of praise, pizza parties and things like that. And when it gets into we have to win, I think that's counterproductive, not just for children, even for ourselves. Positive, to me, is always the approach you want to take. Being positive, being loving, being kind. You can do so much to change the world and even do well in kids' sports by using the positive approach. I think when you're around a coach who's using a negative, you need to kind of counterbalance that, talk to your son and say, I don't actually agree with what the coach is saying here, and I want you to have fun, get out there and enjoy yourself, do well. But the great thing is if you're enjoying yourself, you probably will even do better. And more importantly, what you discovered in your own son's case, you will stick with it, because when you like something, you're going to stick with it. When it's only about winning at any cost, it is very challenging to stay with anything. So even the parents that want to push their kids, or the coaches who want their teams to succeed, positive is always the best approach, because in the long run, that works, and it works really well. So I would encourage you to find a coach that's that way, and encourage you to be a loving parent in that way too. What are your thoughts?
I think you had some very important points there. And I know there's the balance between I don't want my son to give up on something so easily because it's hard or there's work at it. But if your son is really passionate about soccer and he's coming home saying these things to you, I encourage you to pay attention to it, or maybe pay a visit, or maybe when he's practicing, be there for those practices, because you really have no idea what's going on with those coaches. I've heard some really horrible things. My husband actually did a lot of Little League and played sports in high school, and he comes from a family where his father played played sports professionally. And some of the stuff that those coaches said to him and his brothers was really, really damaging on their self-esteem. Stuff like, oh yeah, you're only doing that because your father's so-and-so, or, oh, why can't you be better at this because your father's so-and-so, you should be. And imagine what that does to a child's self-esteem. And believe me, it's not just my husband who went through that. It wasn't just his family. Kids go through that all the time, and these coaches sometimes can put them down and make them feel really awful about themselves. And really, that's abusive. That's not okay. So you have to balance, I want my kid in a sport, but I also want to build up his self-esteem. I don't want to tear him down and he feels awful about himself. So weigh it out, talk to your son, get him to talk to you about these things, because I know my husband never told his family about that, and if I knew about that as a mother, I would be absolutely livid that somebody was talking to my son that way.
And I know her son is 5. That's a young age, but at any age, it's important to really, as a parent, you are the main person they're going to listen to. They're going to watch what you say, and if you're excited for them, being positive, being loving, even if everyone else is yelling at them, I think that will be the best thing you can do as a parent, is go against the tide if it's negative and show them love, say just have fun, and they will listen to that.
And at the same time, if you find that this person is really just being a not nice person to your son, take him out of there, or else maybe talk with the other parents, have a meeting about this, because I'm sure they don't want the same things being done to their children. And perhaps you guys can have a meeting with the coach, because sometimes you don't want to be in a position where you say something and then now they're targeting your child. So we hope that these tips will help you, and thank you so much for your question.
Co-hosts of the Holistic Success Show, Dr. Puff and Elizabeth Lozano, MA, want to teach you how to live a meditative life. Learn to still your mind, diminish negative thinking, experience peace and bliss, and be 100% present in the moment. Retreats provide a unique opportunity to learn new skills, meet new people, and interact with Elizabeth Lozano and Dr. Puff. For information or reservations for upcoming retreats, please visit holisticretreats.tv. Expand your capacity for joyful living today.
Tranquility and peace. Find freedom and relaxation no matter where you are or who you're with. Be still, be free. Meditation for Health and Happiness, available at www.holistichealth.tv.
Think about this as you go through your week and through your life. This quote is by Victoria Holt. Never regret. If it's good, it's wonderful. If it's bad, it's experience. We all learn from our mistakes. So learn from your mistakes and take chances. Thank you for joining us on the Holistic Success Show. If you like, you can subscribe to our website, and we will send you information about our upcoming events, our meditation seminars and retreats that we have, as well as all of our new episodes and meditation podcasts.
And if you have a company and organization would like to have Elizabeth and I come speak for you, please visit our website for more information.
I'd also like to thank G. Marie Boutique in Laguna Beach, California, for providing me with this beautiful dress I'm wearing today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful week.